Hello, class 12th student. Today again I am going to start chapter 2nd. Topic is aggregate demand and related concept. This is part 10. And in this part we are going to over this chapter, whatever the remaining topic that we are going to cover here. Okay student? So in this chapter we had learned first of all the meaning of aggregate demand. We had learned about meaning of aggregate demand and its component. After that we had learned about aggregate supply. Then we had learned propensity to consume or consumption function. After that types of consumption function. Then saving function. After that is types. Today in today video we are going to talk about investment function. Okay, this is not we are going to cover, it is not in our syllabus. Ex ant and export, saving and investment, full employment and involuntary unemployment. Okay, so this is not in your syllabus, this one, so that we are not going to learn here. Okay, so first of all, here it is a very important table that I want to discuss with you. If you want to understand propensity to consume and propensity to save, its type, so this chart is very helpful. Okay, so in this chart you can see it is a comparative study of APC, APS, MPC, MPS. Okay student, already I had made explanation of all these point. Okay, so please note down it, learn it. Okay, now let me start our video. First of all, what do you mean by investment function? So first of all, the meaning of investment. Investment refers to expenditure incurred on creation of new capital. Already in the first chapter we had learned about the investment. Investment is what? Increase in the capital stock is known as a investment. Okay, so investment means when the capacity of producing goods and services that is going to increase, it's mean there is investment in the economy. Okay, so what it include? Investment includes expenditure in occurred on assets, yani fixed assets like machinery, building, equipment, raw material. Okay, which lead to increase in the production capacity of economy. Okay, in economics, expenditure is divided into two heads. Okay, so first is induced investment and second is autonomous investment. So in this chapter this point is important in 3 marks question and in 4 marks question. Okay, so let us understand it. So what do you mean by induced investment and what do you mean by autonomous investment? Okay, first of all, induced investment. So induced investment is done by private sector. Induced investment is done by private, especially private sector. Okay, so when it is done by the private sector, so obviously what will be? It will be profit motive. So it is done for earning profit. Okay, and income elasticity, so of course it increases with level of income increase. In very simple language, if you talk about the private sector, so private schools, private nursing home, private college, okay, these are available only where their people are having higher income level. Like if you go to the metropolitan cities, you find there are more presence of private sector. They are doing huge investment, mall, okay, theater, restaurant, schools, hospitals. Okay, so private sector do, whenever do the investment, it is depend upon the level of income. They only do the production where the people are able to buy. केवल वो उसी एरिया में प्रोडक्शन करते हैं जहाँ पे लोग उसे परचेज कर सके. इसीलिए आप गांव में कोई भी बड़ा प्राइवेट स्कूल या कोई भी बड़ा प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल नहीं देखते हो. तो दिस इज नोन एज अ induced investment. Induced investment is that investment that directly related to level of income. Okay student, so here you can see the diagram of induced investment. As income increases, you can see investment also increases. So in induced investment, there is positive relationship between investment and income. Okay, so there is positive relation between investment and income. Okay, on the other hand, autonomous investment, if you talk about the autonomous investment, so it is generally done by government. It is generally done by government. So government जब भी कोई काम करती है तो it is done for the social welfare. It is done for the social welfare, not for earning the profit. Like you can take the example of railway is run by the government so that people conveniently can go here from there. Okay, and it gives a portable या फिर affordable transportation. Okay, for sending one item from here to there. Okay, so basically those investment that is done by the government without thinking about the level of the income, that is considered as a autonomous investment. And these autonomous investment does not change with the level of income. Okay, it is going to be constant. सो गवर्नमेंट इसे लोगों की इनकम के अकॉर्डिंग एक्सपेंड नहीं करती, ये गवर्नमेंट इकोनॉमी की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से एक्सपेंड करती है कि अगर रोड नहीं है तो रोड बनवानी है, एजुकेशन सिस्टम अगर अच्छा नहीं है तो एजुकेशन सिस्टम अवेलेबल कराना है. तो दे डू फॉर दैट सोशल वेलफेयर, फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग सोशल एंड इकोनॉमिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. ओके, सो इट इज़ नॉट रिलेटेड टू income. Okay, so first of all, it is done by the government. Okay, it is done for social welfare, not for profit. So that is why it is unaffected by change in level of income, and it is parallel to x-axis in income elasticity. So that is why when you are going to talk about autonomous investment, it is represented by I bar. I bar means that is not going to be changed with the level of the income. Okay student, so here you can see ki income level is increasing but investment is same. Okay, if income increases more but there is no change in the investment. On the other hand, if you talk about the induced investment, so as income increases, investment also increases. Okay students, so that is why it is a upward sloping line. Okay, now so in very simple language, if we talk about both the investment, so if we talk about autonomous investment, so it is indicated by I bar, or if you talk about induced investment, so it is indicated by I. Induced investment. Okay, and this is your autonomous investment. Okay, so done by government. Okay, done by private. Okay, private sector. Okay, it is done for social welfare. Done for social welfare, and it is done for profit. It is done for profit. Okay student, and it does not vary with the level of the income. So unaffected with level of income. Okay, and it is affected, it increases, यानी induced investment increases with increase in level of income. So there is positive relation. Okay, now here it is given about the ex-ante saving and ex-ante investment. So ex-ante term is related to planned. Remember that ex-ante is related to planning, ki what people are planning. Like suppose I give you 100 rupees. Okay, so when you are having 100 rupees in your pocket, so how much you are ready to expend. So this is what ex-ante. Okay, this is what ex-ante. So ex-ante is related to planning, how people are planning to expend. Okay, so let me understand ex-ante saving. What is ex-ante saving? So whatever savers or household plan to save at different level of income in an economy, that is considered as a ex-ante X and saving. So these are intended are planned saving. The amount of planned saving is shown by saving function. Okay, now X and investment. What investor or firms plan to invest at different level of income in the economy, these are intended or planned investment. Okay, so simply in very simple language, X and saving is related to planning. How much people of an economy are planning to save at a given level of income, that is considered as a X and saving. X and investment, so the producer sector, how much they are planning to produce, okay, how much they are planning to invest at a given level of income, that is considered as a X and investment. Okay, so here is given a question, difference between X and X post investment. तो remember, X and का मतलब planned और X post का मतलब actual. So remember these two terms and you are able to write the difference. Okay, so here you can see X and is planned investment which the planner intend to invest at different level of income in the economy. X post investment may differ from the X and investment when the actual sell differ from the planned sell and face unplanned addition or reduction of investment. Okay, देखो X and is related to planning, okay, and X post is related to actual investment. तो क्या है कि मान लो अगर हम इस टाइम का सिचुएशन ले तो मार्च के पहले इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट द जनवरी एंड फरवरी, सो देर आर मेनी पीपल दे आर थिंकिंग टू प्लान टू ओपन अप न्यू शॉप आर न्यू यूनिट टू इंक्रीज द प्रोडक्शन लेवल, बट नाउ बिकॉज ऑफ द COVID-19 देयर आर डिक्रीज इन द डिमांड ऑफ द पीपल, सो ऑब्वियसली दे हैव टू पोस्टपोन फॉर दीज इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो जो प्लानिंग इन्वेस्टमेंट है और जो एक्चुअल इन्वेस्टमेंट है दोनों एक दूसरे से डिफरेंट होते हैं, ठीक है, डिफरेंट हो सकते हैं. और एक्चुअल इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना हुआ ये डिपेंड करता है लोगों की एक्चुअल डिमांड कितनी है, ठीक है. और एक्स एंड क्या है कि व्हाट द प्रोड्यूसर्स आर सेलिंग, व्हाट द प्रोड्यूसर्स आर विलिंग टू इन्वेस्ट. ओके, नाउ that is full employment. What do you mean by the full employment? So I think you are familiar with this term. Full employment is a situation when all the people who are willing and who are able and willing to work at existing wage rate are working. So this condition is considered as a full एम्प्लॉयमेंट, यानी जो भी लोग काम करना चाहते हैं एंड दे आर एबल, यानी दे आर एलिजिबल अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर लेजिस्लेशन, तो इफ़ दे आर गेटिंग द जॉब तो दिस इज़ द कंडीशन ऑफ द फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट. ओके, now full employment is measured in the context of working population only. Okay, so full employment is related to only working people. If you talk about the India, so any person that is above the 40-year age and equal to 60 year, क्योंकि 60 year के above they are not considered, they are not allowed, या they are legislatively physically they are not able to do the job. Okay, so that is why it is working age is considered as a more above the 40 and equal to 60 year. Okay, so it is related to these people only. Full employment implies there is equilibrium in labor market. So okay, full employment is, after writing this equation, if you write this box now, so you get full marks. So what do you mean by full employment? So this is the condition when demand of labor and supply of labor both are equal, yani there is equilibrium in factor market. Okay, now full employment does not imply 100% employment, as even under full employment there can be two type of unemployment, frictional and structural. Okay, here the name is that कि full employment, तो full employment means not कि there is 100% unemployment, there exists natural rate of unemployment. Okay, there exists natural rate of unemployment, and that can be in the form of frictional or in the form of structural. Okay, and one more thing, like voluntary also, like if I talk about you are in class 12, so according to our legislation you are free to do work, physical work. Okay, but you want to get higher education so that in future you are able to get you are able to get a high paid salary. So that is why you are not willing to work. So that is why full employment definition is related to who are able, yani according to our legislation, and willing to work is, it is also very important. Like all the student who are in class 12, they are eligible to do the job, but they are not willing to do the job. Why? Because they want to get higher education, so that in the future they are able to get high paid salary job. Okay, so these both the condition is going to be fulfilled. They are able and they are willing to work. So this condition, and they are getting the job, then this condition is considered as a full employment. Okay, now this is very very important. It can be asked in 3 marks question or in 4 marks question. Okay student, the situation of full employment does not means a situation of zero unemployment. सिचुएशन इट, इसके अंदर क्या बोला गया है, जीरो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट की कंडीशन को ये नहीं बताता है. यानी फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट डज नॉट इम्प्लाइज जीरो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. हमेशा इकोनॉमी में क्या अवेलेबल होता है, नेचुरल रेट ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. नेचुरल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट क्या होता है, तो दिस अकर ओइंग टू द फैक्ट दैट देयर आर कॉन्स्टेंट चेंज इन सप्लाई एंड डिमांड पैरामीटर इन द इकोनॉमी, and adjustment to these changes takes time. While adjustment are occurring, some people are continue to remain unemployment. So this situation of frictional and structural unemployment in the economy is considered ओके एज अ नेचुरल रेट ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. यानी क्या बोला जा रहा है कि अगर मान लो मैं जॉब कर रही हूँ, मैं दूसरे स्कूल को ज्वाइन करना चाहती हूँ, तो ऑब्वियसली फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आई एम गोइंग टू बी अनएम्प्लॉयड. ओके, सो मुझे अनएम्प्लॉयड के नंबर में नहीं डाला जाएगा, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे जब स्विच कर रही हूँ एक जॉब से दूसरी जॉब पे, तो दैट इज़ वाई आई एम अनएम्प्लॉयड. ओके, सो इट इज़ वॉट, इट इज़ वॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयड. तो स्ट्रक्चरल मीन्स वॉट, कि सपोज before the COVID-19 all the teacher are teaching on the blackboard in our school. Now we are teaching online by using our phone or our laptop PC. Okay, so we are required to know about these functions. So there are many teachers who are more mature, so they are not comfortable with the new technology, so they are not able to give their lecture, they are not able to give their service as a teacher. So the time period in which they are not able to do, they have to learn it. Okay, they have to know how to do these things. So the period in which we are not able to do the job, that is considered as a structural. Okay, so these हमेशा याद रखिएगा कि full employment में fictional और structural unemployed include होता है, और इसे हम क्या बोलते हैं, natural unemployed या natural rate of unemployment. Okay, now what do you mean by frictional unemployment and what do you mean by structural unemployment? So it is given and it is very 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 important. Okay, ये वीडियो और इसका हर एक टॉपिक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके बोर्ड पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. ओके, सो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय फ्रिक्शनल? फ्रिक्शनल मीन्स व्हाट, अ पार्ट ऑफ अ थिंग. फ्रैक्शन, सपोज देयर इज अ पेपर, आई हैड मेड 4 pieces, तो देयर इज it become fractional 1/4. Okay, so fractional means what, part, it is related to part. So here is also the same meaning. When a person who is unemployed a part of a time, so that is considered as a fractional unemployment, and it happened when a person switch from one job to another. Suppose a person who is doing the job in Delhi, he want to join a job in Bangalore, so obviously there will be some time to wind up all the things in Delhi and then move to Bangalore and set up all the thing and then started to do the job. So what in the duration when he is not doing the job, that is considered as a frictional unemployment. Okay, so what is written in your book? It refers to temporary unemployment which exists during the period wherein worker leave one job and join some other. Okay, it arises ड्यू टू द लेबर मार्केट इम्परफेक्शन. देखो लेबर मार्केट परफेक्ट नहीं होता है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉस्ट होता है, टाइम पीरियड लगता है. ओके, और आपको जॉब सर्च करने में भी टाइम लगता है. सो दैट इज़ द थिंग्स आर देयर, सच एज लैक ऑफ मार्केट इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ जॉब, लैक ऑफ परफेक्ट मोबिलिटी on the part of the workers, and introduction of new machinery, nationalization in production process breakdown of plant maybe lead to frictional unemployment. Like in COVID-19 you had listened many news ki many small scale industry were closed up, so because of that there are many people who are unemployed, so they are considered as a fractional unemployment. Okay, now talk about the structural unemployment. So structural unemployment, what is this? It refers to the unemployment in which people remain unemployed due to mismatch between unemployed person and demand for a specific type of work. इसका बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है. ड्यू टू द कंप्यूटराइजेशन, workers who do not possess enough knowledge of computer will be unemployed until they do some computer course or training. Okay, so jab tak, like take the example of banking sector. If you go to the 10 or 5 year back, so they are doing manually, they are working manually. But if you talk about the today era, so you take the example of post office, they are doing all the feeding, all the entry with the help of the computers. Okay, so because of that now the people who are not able to know, yeah, who are not having the enough knowledge of computer, so they are not able to get the job. So that is why they have to unemployed until they are able to get the enough knowledge about the computer. So this is considered as a structural unemployed. Like if you know how to write on keyboard, but now typewriter, if a person who know how to type on typewriter, now people started to use for typing keyboard. Okay, so they have to learn now how to type on keyboard. So the period of time in which they are going to learn it, they are going to understand is they are going to be unemployed. तो वो duration में उसे क्या बोलेंगे? structural unemployment. Okay, so these both frictional and structural is considered as a natural rate of unemployment. Okay, so अगर ये question आता है, this is very very important question. Okay, what do you mean by natural rate of unemployment? So what you are going to write? Natural rate of unemployment refers to frictional and structural unemployment. After that you will define if it is 3 marks question. Okay, frictional is related to temporary unemployment, that is because of one person is going to select, yeah, going to join another job leaving first one. So the duration in which he is going to, yes, he is going to unemployed, that is considered as a frictional unemployed. Okay, in structural, so it is because of due to the change in technology or due to the change in the pattern of production. Okay, नाउ वॉलेंट्री एंड इनवॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. तो नेम क्लियर. वॉलेंट्री का मतलब क्या होता है? खुद से, जब हम चाहते हैं अनएम्प्लॉयड रहना. लाइक यू, all the student who are above the 40 year, they are not doing the job, they are what? They are voluntary unemployed. Okay, because legally they are allowed to do the job, but actually they want to get higher education, so they willingly they are unemployed. आप जानबूझ के unemployed हो, तो this is considered as a voluntary unemployment. So it refers to a situation when a person is not willing to work at a existing wage rate. When workers are unwilling to accept any work though they are physically or mentally capable. Okay, so voluntary unemployment is not counted while measuring the size of unemployment. So this line is very very important, student. It can be asked in your viva. Okay, सो अनएम्प्लॉयड जब हम काउंट करते हैं, एस्टिमेट करते हैं, तो उसमें वॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इंक्लूड नहीं होता है. तो रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट. ओके, नेक्स्ट, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय इनवॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट? तो इट रेफर्स टू अ सिचुएशन व्हेन who are willing and able to work at an existing rate but do not getting the जॉब, दैट आर कंसिडर एज अ इनवॉलेंट्री. यानी वो चाहता नहीं है लेकिन उसे जॉब नहीं मिल रही है, इस वजह से वो अनएम्प्लॉयड है. तो दिस टाइप ऑफ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इज कंसिडर एज अ इनवॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. ओके, तो थ्रू फिजिकली मेंटली फिट दे आर रेंडर्ड अनएम्प्लॉयड अगेंस्ट दे आर विलिंग टू वर्क. ओके, now involuntary unemployment is taken into the account while estimating total unemployment in the economy. तो जब हम unemployment को count करते हैं, estimate करते हैं, how many people are unemployment in India, तो उसमें क्या आता है? involuntary. okay, voluntary नहीं आता है. remember, unemployment यानी कि इनवॉलेंट्री अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इज इक्वल टू अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, is equal to unemployment. Okay student, remember. Now next these are the some question that I want to discuss with you. Now our chapter has over. Okay, there are some questions that is very important, so these are high order thinking questions. So there is some explanation of it. Okay, first question is, high propensity to consume is a virtue while high propensity to save is not. Explain. It is very very important this year from my side. Okay, ये क्वेश्चन क्या है? वर्च्यू का मतलब होता है क्वालिटी. ओके, तो इसमें बोल रहा है कि हाई प्रोपेंसिटी टू कंज्यूम इज़ अ वर्च्यू. इफ़ यू टॉक अबाउट द मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स, तो ज़्यादा एक्सपेंडिचर होना ये किसी इकोनॉमी के लिए अच्छी बात है. ओके, इट इज़ अ गुड थिंग. बट हाई प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव इज़ नॉट. लेकिन अगर आप ज़्यादा सेव कर रहे हो, इकोनॉमी ज़्यादा सेव कर रही, पीपल आर इंटरेस्टेड टू सेव मोर, सो दिस इज़ नॉट अ गुड थिंग. ज़्यादा कंजप्शन गुड है, बट ज़्यादा सेविंग दैट इज़ बैड फॉर द इकोनॉमी. वाई? if you talk about an individual level, so saving is very good. Okay, but if all the people started to save, so it is not good for the economy. How it is not good for the economy? Okay, I'm going to explain here in my own language. Okay student, like suppose if all the people started to save, okay, to save more, तो इसका मतलब AD, aggregate demand is going to decrease. When demand is going to decrease, so it's mean there will be overproduction. There will be overproduction. In result, नेक्स्ट टर्म में प्रोडक्शन को क्या किया जाएगा? डिक्रीज़ किया जाएगा. जब प्रोडक्शन डिक्रीज़ होगा तो इन्वेस्टमेंट भी डिक्रीज़ होगा. जब इन्वेस्टमेंट डिक्रीज़ होगा तो एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्या होगा? कम होगा. एम्प्लॉयमेंट कम होने से नेशनल इनकम कम होगा, और जब नेशनल इनकम डिक्रीज़ करेगा तो इन रिस्पॉन्स में फिर से एग्रीगेट डिमांड क्या हो जाएगा? डिक्रीज़ करेगा. तो इन दिस वे इकॉनमी एक विशियस सर्कल ऑफ पॉवर्टी में ट्रैप हो जाती है. तो दैट इज़ वाई हाई प्रोपेंसिटी टू सेव इज़ नॉट गुड फॉर द इकॉनमी. अगर सारे ही लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सेव करेंगे तो दैट इज़ नॉट गुड फॉर द इकॉनमी. वाई? बिकॉज आवर एग्रीगेट डिमांड विल डिक्रीज. व्हेन आवर डिक्रीज, तो देयर विल बी एक्सेस production in the economy. Correct it, not write the over, but write here excess. Okay, write here excess. So excess production. Okay, so when AD decreases, there will be excess production in the economy. Result, production will be decreased in the next stage. Then investment will decrease. फिर employment, E for employment. Okay, E for here it is employment. Okay, so employment will decrease, then national income will decrease, again aggregate demand decrease. So in this way, vicious circle, economy is going to be trapped into vicious circle of poverty. So that is why it is not good. Okay, now what is written here? High propensity to consume is a virtue, as greater consumption implies greater demand and thus greater inducement to investment. Okay, जब लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा डिमांड करेंगे तो ऑब्वियसली देयर विल बी मोर प्रोडक्शन, तो देयर विल बी मोर इन्वेस्टमेंट, देयर विल बी मोर employment generation, so it is good for the economy. Okay, so thus the level of investment, production, employment tend to rise. Okay, so here you can see ki aggregate demand will increase, then investment increase, then production increase, and national income increase, and then when national income increase, again AD will increase. So this is good for the economy. Now high propensity to save is not a virtue. ये virtue नहीं है. Virtue means quality नहीं है. It is not good for the economy. Greater saving means lesser consumption, lesser demand, and thus lesser induced to investment. So in simple, with the help of this line you can explain it. Less AD, less investment, less production, less national income. Okay student, now there is one more question. On the basis of given diagram, answer the following question. First question is, what is the value of autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumption कहाँ क्या होता है? या तो आप उसको C consumption से डिफाइन कर सकते हो या सेविंग कर्व से डिफाइन कर सकते हो. तो C autonomous consumption किसको बताता है? C को. दैट इज इक्वल टू माइनस C बार. दैट इज इक्वल टू माइनस सी बार। तो यहाँ पे देखो ये जो कंजप्शन कर्व है वो इंटरसेप्ट कर रही है ओ वाई एक्सिस पे, किस पॉइंट पे, 40 पे। सो यानी सी इज इक्वल टू, सी बार इज इक्वल टू 40 करोड़। तो दैट इज योर आंसर। ओके स्टूडेंट, नाउ नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज द ब्रेक इवन लेवल ऑफ इनकम और एट व्हाट लेवल इनकम सेविंग इज जीरो। ओके, सो ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट क्या होता है? break even point is that point where y is equal to c and s is equal to 0. okay, तो this is the point of break even point. यहाँ पे क्या है, both consumption curve and income curve both are intersecting to each other. It's mean y is equal to c. Here you can see income is what, y is equal to 100 and consumption is what, consumption is also equal to 100. So when both are equal to 100, so saving is going to be 0. So answer is what, y is 100. So this is your answer. Now how much is APC corresponding to point E? Okay, now APC पूछा गया है, APC क्या है? तो APC will be 1. okay, why APC will be 1? So we know ना कि at break even point APC is always equal to 1. और इसको आप कैलकुलेट भी कर सकते हो. what is the equation of APC? okay student, what is the equation of APC? Wait, what is the equation of APC? so APC is equal to C upon Y. What is the value of consumption? 100 crore. And what is the value of income? It is also 100 crore. So when you divide 100 upon 100, it is what? It is 1. So in this way the value of APC will be 1. Next question is, if MPC is 0.6, determine the consumption and saving function. Okay, so let we understand it here. Okay, so here it is saying कि when MPC is equal to 0.6, so what will be saving function and what will be consumption function? So in the diagram we get C bar is equal to what, 40. So now saving function C is equal to C bar plus B Y. B means what? B stand for MPC. MPC is already given 0.6, so directly we are going to put the value for C bar 40, for B 0.6, or Y is not given, so we will write here. So this is your answer. Okay student, now saving function, so how we will write the saving function? C bar minus C bar, wait, okay, now S is equal to minus C bar plus 1 minus B Y. okay, 1 minus B means what? It is related to MPS. okay, now MPC is given 0.C, so what will be the value of MPS? It will be 0.4, क्योंकि 1 से subtract करोगे 0.6 को, तो what will be the value? It will be 0.4. okay, so now I am going to write here. so minus C bar आपका क्या हो जाएगा? minus 40, that is given in the diagram. 1 minus B 0.4, and Y is not given, so we will write here Y. okay, so this is the answer. okay, so here it is given. okay, now thank you for today. I hope all of you are learning very well, because your unit I think is going to be in few days. You will get some notice for your unit test. okay, so student, work hard, prepare for your board examination from the beginning, so that in the last you are not going to feel very hectic or it is very difficult. okay, thank you.